Hello and welcome to Our People Speak. I'm Sharon McConnell, the host for today's show. Today we're going to be talking about picking berries, sweet and healthy berry picking and jam making in Alaska. And I have two experts in this field. If you're from interior Alaska, there's a lot of people that are experts, but these ladies really know their stuff about berry picking. I'm happy to introduce you to Sandy Koyukuk, who is from Antasta and Tetlin originally. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you.
And our own Pat Bessette, who is originally from Beaver. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you.
So every summer, a lot of folks out here in Alaska, they'll start thinking about going out into the hills and berry patches and start picking primarily blueberries first. But there's a number of berries people go out and pick. They include a few salmon berries in interior Alaska, blackberries, or what people call crowberries, and also high bush cranberries, and also what other berries do folks go out? Salmon berries, I mentioned, yep, and then high bush.
Yes.
And some, let's see, cranberries. We forgot to mention cranberries in the fall time. So people are getting excited because it's that time of year now. I'm not sure how it's going to be this summer because of the mosquitoes are pretty bad this summer, but we'll see how that goes. But before we start talking about jam making and the different berries, can you tell us a little bit about your background, Sandy? I always see you on Facebook posting berry pictures and you're out in the patch there and stuff, but when did you start picking berries? Did you go out with your mom or?
Yeah, grandma, mom, and it was like a family thing, and so I started when it was just a part of our life. We just go out as a family. We do that. So it was like probably, I could remember probably when about 5 years old, and we used to walk like over hills and hills. We didn't have no cars, so
Wow.
I had to find a patch,
And I've seen pictures from years ago. I mean, today, we take it for granted to go out and pick berries, but years ago it was for nutritional value that they would go out and get these berries for vitamin C. And I'd see pictures of barrels of berries. Mm-hmm. Did you guys ever see those pictures where they just fill these barrels and huge containers of berries to last them through the winter, but they really needed it for the vitamins and such. Did you ever experience that?
I didn't see that, but I seen like lard cans, coffee cans, old ones.
The square ones?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah.
Those, yeah. I seen those, and Tetlin. In Tetlin, you had to go a long ways, so and people would carry their babies like on their back and stuff like that. So blueberries was real precious. Yeah. So.
And then what about you, Pat? I mean, you must have grew up
We
picking berries with your mom and.
Oh yes, we also had to go up by boat as well, because we're in the interior of Alaska, and it's not. You had to go a ways to go and pick berries. And if it wasn't with my mom, it was the Weiners, my friend Teresa Weiner or Teresa O'Byrne. I would always go with their family, and I was just like one of their kids. And we'd always be in the boat going out and picking berries out in the woods.
And it would be for the full day.
Oh yes, and even spending the night.
Uh-huh.
But the high bush berries was below Beaver. It's called Nuts Point. That's where we used to go. I mean, you could smell those high bush berries before you even get to them, so you'll know where they're at.
Yeah, some
and
people
you'll
don't
know
like
they're
that
ripe.
smell. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll know they're ripe and they're good for. And we used to make jam, and we used to eat them with pancakes all the time.
Mm-hmm. So, what is some of your favorite memories of like when you were a child picking berries? Does anything stand out? Any memories?
As a child, I used to like it because we'd go as a family and we'd walk, and just going up, I remember that we'd be going up on hills, and sometimes, you have to just carry a little water and stuff. And my grandma, Jessie Mark, I always think about this. There'd be no water and we'd be thirsty, and she'd dig under the ground and water would collect, and they would use their scarf and we'd get water. I don't know how she do it to this day, but the water would collect, and she'd put her, whatever, our cup or whatever, and she'd put the scarf over, and we'd drink it. It would be ice cold water, and I always remember that. And when we go up, you'll see where our dry fish come out, our dry meat, and crackers with that, that butter with the can. It used to be in a can, butter. It was Derigold, I think, but it was in a can. It came from a can. I mean, it was in a can. It was the most sweetest, saltest, the best butter you'll ever have. And we'd have that, and campfire tea, and them just talking, and they'd just sit there all day. But we couldn't spend a night because we'd walk miles and miles, but we had to walk miles back.
Wow, carrying the heavy
loads
of berries.
And sometime if there was, and because everybody went to the same place almost. It was beautiful. I remember the smell, of the berries, the smell.
And the hands getting all blue.
Yeah, and I was never afraid. I remember.
Yeah,
So
I grew up in Evansville, and I don't remember ever being afraid. We'd go with my mom, but of course she'd always carry a gun with her, But as I was telling you ladies earlier, I remember one time we went out with my mom, and a moose came charging at us out of the blue, and it's like, and Mom tried to shoot it. Yeah, tried to scare it off. Calling it a dog. We always teased her for years after that, because she'd go, "Shoot, get away, dog, shoot!" Because she was so rattled by this moose charging us. But when you're talking about the meals, I think that was the highlight when we were kids, is getting to get salmon strips. Well, that was such a treat for us, and not many people are getting salmon strips this year. No fishing. But Pat, what's some of your favorite memories of when you were growing up berry picking?
Oh, going out with George and Mariah Weiner's family, because they had a huge family. And so, it was, no matter where we went, we were never bored. We were always busy.
Now, did they really make you pick berries, or did you get to play a lot?
Oh, I got to play. But then again, we had to pick berries too as well. And I'd pick berries for my mom.
I don't think Shirley and I have a twin sister, Shirley, and I don't think we were much help. We were laying in the ground looking at the sky, rather than picking berries. And Mom would stay out for hours picking berries,
And then when you go to bed at night, when you close your eyes, that's all you see is blueberries.
Yeah. So, but this time of year, so what we're looking at right now for those that don't really know about berry picking season here in Alaska, or interior Alaska, I should say. So in early July, we're getting white blueberries, right? And then they'll be ready in a couple weeks.
In a couple weeks, yeah.
And then what other berries are coming up after that?
Salmon berries.
Salmon berries now?
Are usually first.
Okay, but we don't get too many of those. We were talking about that. Those are like gold here. We were talking earlier about how if you go further north, like in Kotzebue, you'll see pictures from up there of fields of salmon berries. And I think they're also called cloudberries, is that correct?
Yeah.
But here in interior, there are salmon berries, but they're not like fields of it, I don't imagine, are there? She's not going to reveal her berry patch.
Well, there's enough. I like it because I always go I could get, to me, it's 2 gallon is a lot, because I could go home and we could just make it up right there for our family, the ice cream. I say Eskimo ice cream because I know that's where I've learned it from, and I have to give them that, thankfulness, because I've learned it from them, my Eskimo friends, and so I call it Eskimo ice cream, and so we're always having that with the first pick, of blueberries, and we were taught, like, when you first pick the blueberries, you always give it to like an elder, the 10% or whatever, your first.
Yes.
Yeah, right now what I do is tonight my plan was to go and drive and I have a place where I just look and I just walk up to it and I just check, you know, to see how long or how it's going to be this year, or you know.
So salmon berries first.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy's secret patch. And then you're looking at blueberries, because right now aren't they flowering? I haven't been out yet, but
I haven't even checked yet.
or they
so
might
I
even
don't
be
know.
like
But
little
it's been
pink and
good-
white, you know.
Good weather. Did you
berries.
check?
I
Have
haven't
you
checked.
checked?
I haven't checked
Yeah.
yet.
So that was my
Yeah.
plan tonight, to drive out and just to check to see how they are
Mm-hmm.
and see what's.
And we have to mention, for those that aren't familiar with berry picking, well, any area actually, everyone has their own special spots. And a big joke around, you know, where you go berry picking, everyone asks, oh, where'd you get all those berries from? And they just usually say down the highway, or oh, about 60, 70 miles down the Elliott Highway or so. No specific, you know, location, you know, because everybody does have their special patches, you know, where they go to every year. And it's pretty consistent, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have your spots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
And it you know, and it's there for years if you take care of it. If you you know, really take care of where you go.
so when you say take care of it, what do you mean?
Like there's some berry patch. There is times when I go out with people and I see them walk right through the patches, and I kind of like, ooh, don't do that, you know, because they don't grow back. Blueberries don't grow back if you destroy them. You have to take care of them. You have to watch. Don't step on the leaf. Don't run through it, play around, you know, and that's what I was taught. Respect it, take care of it, because that's, you know, we have to eat it. We have to just respect it, because that's our, you know, it's got a lot of vitamins. And that's what we have to carry it through the winter and stuff like that. We just have to learn to, like everything else, we have to respect that. And when I see people do that, and because I used to use that berry picker a lot until I realized that it destroys it. And there's some places when you go out there now, you'll just see brown, because it's all dead because of from that berry picker.
Yeah. Same with you, Pat? Were you taught that too?
Yes, you had respect for the land, wherever you walked, wherever you've been. What you came in with, you carry out. You don't leave anything behind by man.
I remember getting scolded by my mom too if we were trying to run around in the berries, and she'd get mad at us, you know, because again, you respect the land. And you brought up a good topic, is berry pickers, those little tools that people use sometimes. And you mentioned that it's not a good idea to use that because it'll kill the plant.
It is. It does kill the plants, and you could see that. And for me, there's people like, you know, who's are ill or can't use their hand, and they do use it. I respect that. I you know, but when a healthy person does that, I'm kind of like, you know, quench or. So I stopped using it. But there's times that I do use it when the berries are small and I see people, because I don't like to leave no berries. I don't like to walk by them. And everybody's running by and I'm like, I'm gonna pick this real fast. And so I use I just pick it up so fast, but you have to be real gentle. You know, if you do use them, yeah, be very gentle, you know, and just be careful how you use it. And that's what I do. So, but I still carry them. I still carry my berry picker sometimes because of the small ones that they leave behind.
Now, Pat, I know you just sit there and you pick
Yes,
for hours and hours.
Yes, I'm a clean picker too. I don't like the stems or the leaves inside my bucket. But my husband, on the other hand, I'm like cringing every time he picks it, because I see stems and I see leaves, and it's like, you're gonna kind of destroy the berries when we're on the way home. I've learned to carry a big block of ice in my cooler, and I just dump it all in there, and when I go home I freeze it and clean it as I go along.
So when you clean it, as you're picking, you clean it?
Yeah. Yes.
Because I know
I don't try and put leaves. I mean, yes, you'll have leaves, you'll have stems, but majority of my berries that I pick, I don't try and put that in my bucket. I'm one of those perfectionist. Sorry to say, but you know, that's the way I was taught. You know, I had to be clean about it.
So one thing I remember going out picking berries with Mom is once she was done, she had an empty bucket, same size as the one she picked the berries in, and then she would whistle for the wind. And then the wind, I don't know how it happens, but the wind would come and she'd slowly pour the berries into that second bucket, and then the leaves and stuff would, you know, be blown away, and then she would get home and then she would hand clean the berries. You know, it would take a long time. But I've seen people too that they will get home. I think most people do that trick of whistling for the wind. Do
Yes.
you guys? Do you do that?
I
No?
don't. But I seen it. I seen it happen, and I seen the wind just up there.
Yeah, and they would, so they have that, you know, they'd start cleaning it that way and then they take it home, and I've seen some people put it on trays of cookie sheets and clean it that way and freeze it. Have you seen that done? How do you clean your berries?
I pick it so fast. When I get home, I put mine right in the freezer, and after they freeze, I get like a nice clean, like a towel, and I put it out there, and I just go through like that. I just rub my hand right through the berries, and then I put them back in, and it takes everything out, the leaves, the stem, everything. It's done in 2-3 minutes, and I don't let water touch my berries. That's a no-no for me. I don't ever let water touch my berries, because I just feel like it ruins it or whatever. It takes that flavor or something. So that's how I clean mine. Or if I just, I come home and I just like, because I set it outside sometime, my berries. On a rainy day, if it's like, like the next day, if it's a rainy day, I put my fan on. And I just go like this, and I just have the fan blow all the leaves out. And stem, to me, they're all vitamin. So I'm not a clean picker. I'm not. I pick fast as I could, but it's not, enough where there's some leaf in there and stuff, but I'm so expert.
Or little worms. We used to, like Mom would always say, "Oh, just eat it. It's protein." I heard that in the berries. So I was like, okay. But so that brings a point. When we're talking about cleaning. So in July, usually towards the end of July, the berries are real firm. That's when you pick them, the blueberries. And I notice some people will keep picking up all the way until they're really, really soft, like they're almost falling off the bush. And you do that?
I do that. I wait till I pick until like all the leaves are off, and then I go back after nobody goes up.
Are they sweeter then?
They are the best. I don't pick them when they just first ripe and stuff. I mean, when they first are blue and stuff. I wait till they're ripe. And you'll know by just taking it off the stem, you'll know. And the smell. And then I taste it. I like when I pick it, I like it sweet. And I don't like it like half purple or, I wait. But there's a lot of people that picks it like that.
What about you, Pat?
I like them when they're ripe.
You don't pick them right away when they're first starting?
No, I don't. I wait about a week or so.
Because they're pretty darn tart when they're at the beginning. I mean, I've had a bowl of berries. They still
have a lot of vitamins. There's still, I think that blueberries is rated through the whole nation, United States, is the highest how you call that, antitoxin, or you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I can't say.
Antioxidant.
But it's the highest rate.
There you go.
It never lose, even in the freezer, it'll never lose that. You could keep it for years. You'll never lose that vitamins and stuff from it.
James Johnson, the guy that we used to work with at Doy Unlimited, that used to work up at the university, he did a study on it. He actually has a write-up from up at the university.
Really?
Yes, he does. Because they were trying to see how they could produce it down south. But it was not able to work.
See, you brought up another thing, Pat, is our blueberries, we always hear comments too, Alaskan blueberries are not the same as the blueberries in the lower 48. They
Even within
completely don't taste the same.
Even like southeast and stuff, like Sitka or Anchorage.
You know, my mom, her family up near Shungnak, they would always send her a couple gallons, and she would always tell me that it was different from what I would send her, because I'd send her a couple gallons a year, and she was like, she wouldn't share the ones that I gave her.
Yeah.
But she would give her, you know, her grandsons and the, you know, everybody else the other berries.
Yeah, because they do taste different, you know. So, and then I guess so when the folks pick them earlier, you have to use more pectin, I guess, to make jam. Is that true?
I don't think so.
No?
Aren't they as good?
Or you have to add more sugar because of
don't know.
being tart for the jam? I mean, you know, a lot of people, when they pick berries, they'll go home and they'll have a bowl of fresh berries, but they'll put sugar and then
sugar and
or Eagle brand.
yeah,
Yes.
and then canned milk. That was the best dessert ever, you know. But sometimes those berries could be pretty darn tart, you know. You take a bite, and go. But
a lot of people, they don't know that. They don't know about the ripe, and they'll say, I don't like blueberries, you know. And it's because they were given the tart. But and a lot of people pick them when they're tart, and they don't wait because they're all excited, and I could understand, you know, we just can't wait to go out there.
Get out in the woods, and have a picnic.
Yeah,
and
and you can't wait sometimes. So, but when you do get out, you know, and I could tell, but I try to keep my berries. I mean, I like her. I like mine ripe, you know, because there's a real big difference. And I remember my grandma and them used to bring some green berries and eat that.
Yeah.
They used to cook, you know, pick a few, and then they eat that. They just cook it probably with I think flour and sugar and water. And they just cook it and they eat it like that.
And I've also heard that people pick green berries and then they said it ripens up over time anyway. Have you heard anything like that?
I've never
haven't.
seen it.
I haven't
I
tried.
tried, but it never did ripe for me, so I don't know.
Yeah, but we
Never
have,
done
so we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do with berries, but getting back to the schedule, so salmon berries, you know, usually in early July, and then blueberries in July and all the way up until September, you know, until they're falling off the bush. And then high bush cranberries, you like picking those, Pat? And and when is that? And what part?
That's after blueberries.
Is that mostly in August or September?
Yes, mostly in August.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people cannot stand the smell of high bush cranberries. I know my sister doesn't like the smell, and she'll call us because they're all around her house. And so we'll go up and pick those and make jelly with them. And then, so then we have high bush cranberries, and then what we call blackberries are little tiny, are crowberries. And when are those picked for the folks that are watching this?
I think almost the same time as the cranberries.
In August?
Right? I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that when you go out
Towards
and
the end of August, beginning of September.
And then
that's
that's about the same time for low bush cranberries,
Yes.
right? And talk about tart berries there. We make
You know what?
cranberry sauce with those all the time.
I was taught that blueberries was more around spruce trees because they need that acidic taste, that acid. And then cranberries were more around birch trees.
Oh,
So
pretty true when you think about it. Yeah. So getting on to what we do with all these berries besides eat them right away, there's blueberry jam. And I know everybody has their own different recipes for it. Some add spices to it, some don't. Do you have a favorite? I'm assuming you make a lot of jams with your blueberries.
When I first start out, I always say I make jam, but then at the end it's either jam or syrup. I'm not really good at that. And then but I give them to people. You know, I like to share out, give out to people, and especially like doctors and stuff that's new. I like to give it to them and let them try it or something. And not, oh, I made some syrup. No, they didn't know it was supposed to be jelly, but. No.
Well, what other things do you like to do with your blueberries?
I like, my favorite is blueberry dump cake. I like making that. It's the most best thing you'll ever have. You got to try it. I like to make a gudok. I make that.
Eskimo ice cream, and that's using. Do you use whitefish with that? For
I
those
don't.
that don't know what we're talking about, it's berries with whitefish sometimes. Depends on what region you're from in Alaska, and then lard.
Lard. I use
Crisco.
lard.
You do use, okay.
Yeah.
And then sugar, and then what else goes into it?
That's what I use.
Basically,
yeah.
okay.
And sometimes we like use to take the lard taste out. I do like that instant mashed potato. I just like whip it down a little, and then I whip it up till it's like really soft. You know,
And
like
then you
and
freeze
fluffy.
it, or do you eat it right away?
We eat it. It won't make it to the freezer.
Pat and I were talking because we made it several years ago at the office, but the person that showed us how to make it, Linda Dementif, she really whipped it up.
Yes,
so
she
it was
did.
really very light.
Very light.
And it was, did we use whitefish in that? I don't
Yes,
remember.
we did.
Yeah, and that
And
was
then we mixed
so good.
half and half with sugar and the other one with, what is it, sweetener? Because some people have diabetes, so they were not able to use sugar. So we had to kind of mark which ones that had sugar and which ones did not.
And it is the best tasting ice cream you'll ever have. It is so good. And berry-wise, you can use both salmon berries and blueberries, right?
I use blackberries too.
Oh, and blackberries too. Yeah.
I love blueberries and blackberries, or salmon berries and blackberries, and sometimes I get generous and I use all three.
Wow. And then if it's not eaten right away, which is pretty rare, you can freeze it for how long?
Whenever you're ready
How
for
long?
it, yeah.
I still have some from a couple of years ago.
You
I
do?
Yes, I have
And you're not
about-
sharing.
I cleaned up my freezer and I found 2 gallons.
Wow. Wow.
The ice cream?
No, just blueberries.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
blueberries. Oh, I
Yes.
thought, yeah.
Oh, I thought the ice cream.
Ice cream, yeah.
No, no,
I wonder how
sorry.
long that lasts in the freezer. Probably
Probably, I think you probably got to eat that, probably pretty
soon,
fast, yeah.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people for blueberries, they make pies with it a lot. But that takes a lot of berries to me, doesn't it? I mean,
No,
No?
I don't. But for me, I'm not
but you
good
pick
at.
a lot.
Yeah, I do, but I'm not good at pie make. I don't know why, I never could make pie. I'm a good cook, I'm a good baker, but I could never make pie. I don't know why. It's
So maybe we might, for those that are watching this show, we'll get Sandy's recipe for a blueberry dump cake
Yeah.
that you like, and we'll put that on our website and share it with you for those that are going to go out berry picking and have some blueberries, because I think I know the one that is topped with whipped cream on top. Is that the one you're talking about?
the dump cake.
Yeah, the dump cake.
Oh no, this
What-
this is completely different. It's with dry cake mix, and 2 cubes of butter. That's it. And some put little can of fruit on top, but I just like it plain.
And then you put the fresh berries on top of it?
I think 6 cup of blueberries in the cake pan. Dry yellow cake mix, and I just spread it all over.
Oh.
And then I get 2 cubes of butter, real butter, and I microwave it, and I just spread it all over. I bake it until you could smell it, until it's crisp.
So when do you add
no.
the berries?
The berries are inside
on the
under.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right. Okay, gotcha.
like
gotcha.
I do up to 6 cups.
Wow. And I know there's another recipe out there with crushed graham crackers, I
Oh
believe.
yeah.
and then it's whipped cream on the top. It's really
I know what you're talking.
It's really good too, and we
Yeah.
might put that on the website too. We'll get the 2 recipes
I
because.
think Sarah Malamute has that recipe.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I know it goes around on the internet. That's the one good thing about the internet now, is sharing of recipes and such. And those 2, and I've had what you've made too before, and they're both are very, very good. So we'll put that up on the website next to this show when we upload the program to our website and to the Morris Thompson Cultural and Visitor Center website also. So kind of talked about blueberries and how we handle them and such. So things to do with the salmon berries is, again, put them into ice cream. But what else do you do with salmon berries?
I did not pick salmon
don't?
berries too much.
Uh-huh.
No, it didn't have very much around Beaver.
Yeah, we didn't really have that many around our village either, of Evansville. But you,
I
with
make-
that slice mile
There's
of yours.
a pie, Salmonberry Pie. I don't know if you
pie?
tasted that before.
Never have.
Oh, I got to bring some stuff here for you guys.
You're making me hungry.
I make this Salmonberry Pie. It is the most, the richest you could ever know. It's a delight. It's so good. But,
So you can make pies with it too?
It's made with salmonberry. But you started out with Jello, hot water, ice cream, and whipped cream.
Ooh.
And then you put the salmonberry, into the graham crackers. I always buy the store-bought one, and I put the salmonberries in there, and I pour all that ingredients in there. After I mix it all up, I pour the ingredients in there. I think it makes. I have a recipe for 3 pie, and then I make that, and oh my goodness, and it just sits in. It's just so good. I got to make some. Maybe I don't know when you guys, but I'll make some for you guys, and I'll let you try it.
Sounds good. Maybe we'll share the recipe too. That sounds good. I know with blackberries, I'm trying to think of what we did with crowberries. Those are easy to pick. We had fun as kids picking those because those are low to the ground, and we had fun picking them. But I don't know, what did you do with crowberries, blackberries?
I didn't do anything with them. I just
We
picked
just
them for
ate 'em?
elders.
Oh.
I just picked them for elders because none of us younger generation really much cared for it. So we just picked it for our elders.
We used to go out and just pick them because they'd pop with flavor with a little bit of juice in it.
I do. I like it with ice cream. I mean, that aguda. I always have it with blueberries or salmonberry. And I like it with in fall time when I pick it. Sometimes I'll have a separate box with the blackberries because I leave my berries outside, my cranberry outside until it starts freezing, and then I'll put them away. But I have my own little box with the blackberries and cranberries, and then every night I'll go out with a cup and I'll take one and I'll eat that. I'll eat it all. Every night I'll do that.
And that's pretty healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't talked about it much, but when we're talking about berries, the nutritional value of them is pretty good. I mean, vitamin C and antioxidant.
Cancer fighting.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I remember my mom always eating a bowl of berries. She'd add just a little bit of sugar, not too much, and then the canned milk. Because we never had fresh milk in the village. But that would be a real big treat. So, and then high bush cranberries, and people have to be careful, right? Because there's another berry out there that looks just like it, but it's poisonous. I know we were always warned about that because they look so similar, and people that don't know them, you could easily mistake them for the real high bush cranberries. But you said you like picking them. You make jelly with them?
I make jam with it.
Jam.
We usually just made mostly syrup with it for our pancakes in the morning.
Do you do juice or no?
No, we just mostly made it into syrup.
Syrup?
Yes.
Did you add sugar to it? Or?
Oh, of course.
So, did you make jelly, or do you pick
Not
those?
with I seen it made and stuff, but I never could find the high bush up here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll take you to my sister's. That's all around her
Oh
house.
my God,
This
yes.
my poor sister. She doesn't like the smell.
I would
of
love it.
those
You gotta
berries.
let me know.
So, but yeah, that's where we end up making this jelly with those.
Oh.
And then I guess the last berry that is in the schedule of picking, if you will, is cranberries, and they're pretty tart. But what we always did with them is boil them with. My mom would cut up apples and oranges, put in just a tiny bit of vanilla. Sometimes she wouldn't, and then sugar. But she put in the apples and oranges. She always made sure she had oranges in it, and then boiled it up and thicken it, and then that would be our cranberry sauce. Because that's, growing up, that was our cranberry sauce for our holidays, you know. And I remember when we moved into town to go to high school and having holidays meals here in town in Fairbanks, they'd get that can, you know, they'd plop out the cranberry sauce.
I love it.
I mean, it's good, but my sister and I were looking at it like, what is that? That's not cranberry sauce. That's just not what we were used to, you know, in the village. That's a special treat, was the cranberry sauce to have with your holiday meal with turkey or ham, you know. But, you know, do you pick the low bush cranberries?
I pick so much.
But you just eat
Yes.
them just directly, or what do you do with them?
We could make, like, I make pudding. I like to mix it with like I say, I don't mix water with my berries, because you freeze your berries. I bring it out and I put it on slow heat, but no water, and then it gets so thick. And if it don't, then I'll add very little flour, and I put sugar in there, and I just make pudding, and then I have like fried bread. I make fried bread, and we put it on top of that.
Okay, so that's some people out there that are watching this and thinking pudding, but a lot of the villages in interior Alaska, that's what they make with the berries, called pudding, and that's exactly what
With
you
flour,
just,
yeah.
with flour, and it's thick, but it's so good, you know, and
It's really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have pudding when you were growing up too with the berries?
No, we used just a can of pineapple.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we would just render it down with cranberries, and that's what we would use. Just
Oh, really?
pineapples, cranberries. Just a can.
Just the two?
Yes.
And you just boil it?
Yes.
Oh, I've
And
never
it's
tried
really
that.
good. You just sit there and watch it. I mean, it's really good. I mean, you know, because the acid from the pineapples break
And
it
the
out.
sweetness.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it really counteracts the tartness of the cranberries.
Wow. Oh, I'll have to try that. I've never tried that. In regards to, you know, the connection of berries to our native cultures here in interior Alaska, what does it mean to you when you think about berries and being a native person from Antasta and Tetlin? I mean, is it a special connection to you?
It is. I really do. I believe it's because you're you're out there. You have a clear mind. You walk. You don't think anything, you know, because you're just like one with, you know, just out there because you're just. It's like enjoyment. You're laughing with other people, you know, whoever goes with you, you know, and your friends or whatever, and you're eating together, and it just connects you. I feel that it's a circle, you know. You have, just like everything, a four season. I believe that it has a lot to do with our mental, spiritually, physically, you know, everything. It ties in with all of that. For me, I really believe that. And you see a lot of that in our potlatches. You know, it's prepared, and a lot of people, we put it away, we store it away, because I donate a lot to potlatches, funerals, and stuff like that. And especially if I can't make it, I'll send it home, you know, because some people don't have that, or didn't make it out, you know, for some reason. So I share a lot. So there's a lot of sharing and storytelling. You know, we saw this big patch, or we just done this.
Look
we
at this
picked
big
this
berry
one.
we got.
Yeah, look at the, you know. So a lot of laughter. I love that. I really believe that And it's been, generations. My grandma did this, their grandma. So it just goes on and on.
What does it mean to you, Pat?
You're connected to the land. I mean, you go out there and you don't hear city life. It gives you an opportunity to just actually relax and listen to nature, listen to the birds, listen to the river if there's a river nearby.
Stream.
Yes. And sometimes we'd even spend the night, pitch a tent and get up and start all over again the next day.
Did you guys ever have any encounters with wildlife out there? I mentioned my mom's story about the moose, trying to charge us while we were out in the field when I was young, but did you guys have any encounters?
I only did once, and I remember it so clearly because it was less than 5 years ago. This was when my aunt is alive. And it was just, like ripe, and nobody was out there, and it was early, and like, yes, we'll go out there. We went out, we drove out, on old steeds, and then there was so much berries. We're like, oh my goodness, and so we all picked up our spot, roll up our sleeve, and I'm like, I'm sitting here, nobody bother me, just, I'm gonna sit here, so nobody gonna tell me when to go. I sat down, and we just started picking, and we heard this motorcycle drive up, and he said, hey, who's all up there? Hey, we're like, oh no, what's going on? I said, yeah, what's going on? He said, hey, could you come down here now? And we said, what's going on? We said, because we're there, He said, we just saw a baby bear or whatever, I don't know what you call them, but
Cub?
Yeah, a cub. We just saw it run across from where you're at. And we're like, what? And so my aunt had the gun, and we all start running down, and we not run down, but I told him, we can't run, just walk, just walk slowly. And my aunt and I told her, remember you have the gun, because she was ready to. But we had to go back in, and then we went into the car, and my aunt was telling us, when the bear's going to charge, they sent their cup out. And so thank God those guys drove up, and but we never saw those berries again. Really. And I don't even know if we took all our stuff, but that was my only time I saw that. I've never, other than that, never.
Wow. What about you, Pat?
No, I haven't. We've lost somebody before. My mother-in-law and I went out cranberry picking, and she got lost in the patch. She kept going and kept going, and I kind of stayed near the truck, and I realized that she was farther away from me, so I had to fire the .22 so that she could find her way back to me. And it took her a while, and she didn't realize how far she was gone.
Boy, that brings back memories too.
Me too.
We go out
like, oh
berry picking, and you really do. You're out there, and you're in the moment and picking, and you keep going to the next patch.
Or you turn around.
And then you look around, and then you're around nobody, that you came with, because you're just so intense on getting those berries. You forget where you're going.
And you don't want to share when you get the big
berries.
berries.
It's like the big berries, And so, that brings back memories of yelling, where are you? Where are you?
Oh, yes.
And then shooting off a gun because people go far distances when they're picking berries, and then sometimes they get lost too. I remember Shirley and I getting lost once or twice when we go out with our mom, and boy, that brings back a lot of memories.
I learned real quick. You learned real quick to do landmarks, or else stay near your vehicle. I mean,
or just call out to each other all the time. That's what we learned to do. Is where are you, Marilyn? And when they answer back, and they're okay, and stuff. But it's just a wonderful time of the year in Alaska for people to go out, enjoy the woods, and like they said, the peace and quiet, and to pick berries, and to really share that bounty and that connection with the land, especially as Native people, because it's been going on for centuries. And in closing, I just want to say thank you, and is there any final comments you have or stories that you'd like to share with us about berry picking?
I just want to thank you guys. I've learned a lot, and I appreciate sharing, and knowing that we can do this, and we look forward to this, and it's so much fun, and I'm excited about this, and I just want to thank you for allowing us to do this here with you.
Well, it's really nice to talk about a really interesting topic, and that's something that's near and dear to all of us, because it's not just about going out and picking the berries. It's about camaraderie and family and the native culture. It's just wonderful. Pat, did you have any final comments?
It's all about sharing, because if I go out and pick this year, I make sure that I share with the elders, because I want to make sure I have some next year. So it's always looking forward to the next year.
Yeah. I know for me, I always say I have the easiest berry picking in the season, because my sister, Marilyn, my older sister, she loves to pick berries. She's like you, Sandy. She'll go out in the woods and stay there all day and come back, but then she gives it to us because she doesn't like to eat the berries for some reason. But we go, oh, we'll take them.
Blessed lady.
Yeah, we're blessed in that way. So, but thank you so much, Sandy and Pat, for being here to talk about something special. Like I said, to us as Native people, is berry picking in the summertime and fall time. So we hope you've enjoyed the program, and we will try to post the recipes that were mentioned on this program, so you can try some of them if you've go out and pick some of these berries. So I'm Sharon McConnell. Thanks for being with us tonight.